robbers, deceiving and being deceived.
Hunter's a free man after Daddy's pardon, but he doesn't really want to talk about it.
Hunter, how do you feel about being pardoned? How do you feel about being pardoned by your dad?
Biden got so much flack for pardoning his felon son and lying about it that he said, screw it, I'm pardoning everyone. The president dished out 1,500 pardons and commutations. He just broke the single-day record, attaboy. And Biden didn't just pardon dandelions who should have never been locked up in the first place. He's letting out crack slingers, drug traffickers, some of the most notorious fraudsters in U.S. history.
Proverbs 28:5. Evil men do not understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand all.
One guy smuggled cocaine, heroin, and ecstasy into our country. Another guy recruited drug dealers so he could pump cocaine through American cities. Not a great look, but a lot of presidents have pardoned non-violent drug offenders, if you can call that non-violent. Where Biden really went off the rails was with white-collar criminals who took bribes and robbed taxpayers. Now, that sounds familiar. Biden commuted the sentence of Jimmy DeMora, a Democrat politician in Ohio, who was just locked up for taking $500,000 in bribes. And Jimmy didn't just take cash. You could bribe him with trips to Vegas, bribe him with prostitutes. You could even bribe him with stone-fired pizza ovens. Jimmy was running pay-to-play schemes. If you lined his pockets, he'd give you a nice government contract or jobs or raises. He'd even interfere with court cases. Biden let the guy walk. Biden also let off Paul Dogardas, a sleazy lawyer who cooked up a tax scam that cost our government $1.6 billion. Prosecutors call Paul the most prolific, pernicious, and utterly unrepentant tax cheat in U.S. history. And a judge said this was the biggest tax fraud prosecution ever. And Biden heard that and said, let him free. Biden also let out Elaine Lovett, who used an army of doctors to scam Medicare out of millions of dollars. And then there's Rita Crundwell. She embezzled more than $50 million from a small town in Illinois. Biden's okay with that.
I want to go first to Dixon, Illinois, in the heart of America. Fine community to the west of Chicago, very west of Chicago, closer to Iowa. They gave a great big indictment to a city employee who stole a lot of money. Rita Crundwell, pardoned by Biden. She was sentenced to almost 20 years in prison, embezzled over $53 million. Well, you know who doesn't like this? The people, the good people of Dixon, Illinois, who were ripped off. They put out a statement. The city of Dixon is shocked and outraged with the announcement that President Biden has given Rita Crundwell clemency for the largest municipal embezzlement in the history of our country. This is a complete travesty of justice and a slap in the face for our entire community. Wow. Now, why would Joe have done something like that? Any theories, anybody? Huh? Is he monetizing this stuff? Just an idea. I don't know. Got to keep an eye on him. He does live very well for a guy.
And he let out Michael Conahan. It's a Pennsylvania judge that was involved in the Kids for Cash scandal. You ever heard of this? This dirty judge gave thousands of kids harsher sentences so they would be sent to for-profit detention centers, which would then send kickbacks to the judge.
Another weirdo pardon for this judge who sent children to a for-profit prison and got kickbacks. 28 years he was sentenced to prison. Why does he get a pardon? He got a pardon. Here's a little flavor of the consequences of his corruption.
Remember me? Do you remember me? Do you remember my son? An all-star wrestler? He's good. He shot himself in the heart. This bag.
A heartbroken, really an outraged mother lashing out at former Judge Mark Civarella. Now, her son, an all-star wrestler, killed himself after being sent to a juvenile detention facility for a minor drug offense. Now it turns out that Civarella was accepting money to do that, send kids away for cash. The former judge was convicted yesterday of 12 counts, including racketeering and money laundering.
Why would Biden help this guy out? Here's the governor of PA.
I do feel strongly that President Biden got it absolutely wrong and created a lot of pain here in northeastern Pennsylvania. It also affected families in really deep and profound and sad ways. Some children took their lives because of this. Families were torn apart.
China, a bunch of guys from China, released from prison, espionage crimes targeting American aviation. This guy posed as a Chinese intellect. Just weird stuff. Pardoned by Biden. It goes on like this. Guy after guy. Fake representation. 8 years in prison. Worked in the U.S. under the child pornographer. This is crazy stuff. And it calls to mind, once again, the strangely friendly attitude that Biden has always had toward China.
Look, everybody makes mistakes, and some people deserve second chances, like me. But these people took advantage of the public's trust. Why would we bail them out? Because Biden respects people who rip the government off? Because his family's been selling the Biden name for years? This is the type of fraud Doge is promising to clean up. Maybe that's why Democrats want to keep Elon far, far away.
Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when a wicked man rules, the people groan. What does the Bible say about lawlessness? To be lawless is to be without any rules or order. Laws are necessary in a sinful world, as we read in 1 Timothy 1:9-10. Knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous person, but for the lawless and insubordinate, for the ungodly and for sinners, for the unholy and profane, for murderers of fathers and murderers of mothers, for manslayers, for fornicators, for sodomites, for kidnappers, for liars, for perjurers, and if there is any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine. 1 John 3:4 defines sin as lawlessness. Whoever commits sin also commits lawlessness, and sin is lawlessness. Psalm